Alright guys, well I'm back today with another mid-tier scope option from BARSKA. It did have a nice BDC reticle system, good glass, and a really nice eye box for like offhand shooting in and around cars and barriers. Now we're taking a look at the other end of the spectrum, the 6-24 by 56. Let's take a look at the box to kind of show you some information. You guys can pause it if you want to see anything on there, just in case I missed something in the review. Hopefully I won't. Now let's dig into the scope, how it performed down at the range, and all of its specs and features. So the first thing I want to talk about is its size. Again, this is a very large scope, and a lot of 6-24s I've been reviewing lately are very large. That's just the nature of the beast on how they can get the lens systems to fit in and everything like that. But you can actually remove the sunshade up front and have the scope a little bit smaller if you feel like it's too long. I like using the sunshade, especially shooting in North Carolina in the summer. This helps a lot with sun reflecting off that front lens. I have it sitting on top of this 224 Valkyrie upper assembly from Bear Creek Arsenal, and this seems like it's a good care because the 224 can potentially stretch out to 1,000 yards, so you'll want some high magnification. Now, I reviewed some other scopes around this price range like the Citadel series in the past, and some of my problems was with the Citadel series was the eye box, what you could pick up from behind the optic. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.
Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going over the Monstrum Tactical 3x9x40, and it does have the adjustable objective lens on it, which really helps when you're hunting with a pellet rifle like what I have it mounted on. Now, let's open this up. Now, I did take the scope out already, and I put it on the air rifle, pellet gun, and got it zeroed in. So it comes with the scope. It does have a nice set of lens covers. You get your traditional stuff that comes with a scope. I'll show you that in a second. So you get your paperwork, fire starter as I call it. You get a lens cleaning cloth. You get some Allen, those are Torx screws, Torx bit and Torx screws. They actually give you a pack of extra screws in case something happens. And then what I like about this Monstrum scope, this scope is $57 on Amazon. 57. It's a 3x9 by 40mm objective with adjustable objective lens. That's what the AO stands for. And then it also comes with a offset. It's like a 1 inch, maybe a 1.5 inch offset, and it comes with the scope, and the scope's $57. You can't beat that deal. Yes, there are some cheaper scopes on Amazon, like I've looked at some of the CV light. Thanks for watching this video. You guys have a great day. Stay safe.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is my review of the new Leupold VX3 HD. Now, this one that I have here is the 4.5-14 by 40 second focal plane. But for me, when I hunt, I use second focal plane because on the low end, the reticle tends to disappear, especially in low light. Now, that's not what we're using today when we're testing it. It is bright as it can be out here. But in low light, you can lose a first focal plane reticle on the low end. With a second focal plane, you don't have to worry about that. Now, here's what we'll do. We'll look at it downrange. I'll show you the features of it up close. My big ass will be right back. Now, you got to give it to Leupold. When it comes to the finish, to the presentation of their scopes, they're kind of in a class all of their own, especially when you consider the price of this scope at the time I'm making this is $750. Now, the cool thing about this eyepiece, it's on really fine thread, so you can get it exactly where you want to get the reticle focused, and with the locking ring that's on it, you don't ever have to worry about it moving. Now, the throw lever on this thing is really nice, and it only takes 90 degrees to go from 4.5 all the way up to 14.
We start looking at the 30-yard transformer at 3x. Note that when we go from 3 to 12, its maximum magnification, that the eye box will change a little bit. That's going to be a recurring topic throughout this entire video. Just look at how sharp it is, though. This thing focuses really, really well, all things considered. From there, we're going to bump it up to about 400 yards, and in the center of the crosshairs, you're going to note a steel door. Now, if that is a standard steel door, which I would imagine it would be, that's about 80 inches tall. Gives you a sense of scale, even if you can't see all of it. And again, Razor sharp, really high contrast on those bricks and the greens on the tree. Starting at 12x, we're focused on the 30-yard power cables, changing the parallax out to about 200 yards where those trees are, and then finally on that power tower in the back, which is roughly 700 yards. Again, very high definition, all things considered for a $107 scope. Back to 3x to give you an example of how the windage and elevation turrets move, and how that shadow on the inside moves in conjunction with them. That's probably due to the fact that this is a 1-inch tube, 3 to 12x, and it's only $107. There's not much you could really expect for it. But overall, it seems pretty solid, and a minor gripe on this scope's behalf. You're looking at a bench rest target for a 22LR at 50 yards. If I remember correctly, those green circles are roughly 2 inches in diameter. A main concern of mine during the unboxing was how the parallax adjustment felt, but once I started using it more and more, it started feeling better and better, so it really wasn't an issue. My friend was shooting this target with his 22LR, and just look at how sharp it is. Contrast is good, brightness is good, colors are great. It's very impressive. Now, if you note, on the bottom left of the white paper target, my friend is shooting the group for me real quick, just so you can have a visual representation of if you could even call your shots. And very clearly, you can. A very impressive performance by my perspective. Granted, the eye box changes.
What's going on, guys? Going to take a good look today at the Sightmark Core SX 4x32 22LR scope. Sightmark sent me this one over to give you guys a good look at it, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. I'll give you my thoughts on it, a couple of things I like about it. All right, let's very briefly go over what is included in the box with the scope. First of all, you do get one neoprene cover that covers the entire scope, keeps it safe and keeps it clean. You also get included 1-inch rings, which appear to be at the medium height. You also get a little cleaning rag and then the scope itself. I immediately mounted this scope onto my rifle with a pair of scope rings that I had laying around. We'll go over that here in just a second. We'll quickly go over the rings that are included in the box. Yes, they are rings and they are included, so you can immediately mount this scope to your rifle. However, I went with a better option that I had laying around because there are always better options laying around. Don't get me wrong, the rings aren't horrible, but they are just rings. Now let's get down to business, shall we? This again is the Core SX series of scopes made by Sightmark. This is meant as their purpose-built type scope. So in this case, this is the 22LR purpose-built scope. And with that, I was just so happened to be reading the box to see what the waterproof, shockproof rating and all that stuff is. It does say that it can handle up to 600 Gs of force as recoil. On the box here, it says that it can handle up to a 308 caliber. I didn't test it with a 308 or anything like that, but I did beat the scope up a little bit and it seemed to pass with flying colors. Now, as a purpose-built scope, this is again the 22LR reticle with a 22LR BDC inside of that. Let's just go ahead and talk about that BDC and how it works inside of there. Taking a look inside of the scope, you see you have 4 bullet drop compensation dots underneath the crosshairs. According to the instruction manual of this scope, how this works is this scope is set for a 50-yard parallax. So, with a quote-unquote 40-grain bullet traveling at standard velocities with a 50-yard zero, you can use your first indicator, bullet drop indicator down there at 75 yards. You can use your second one at 100 yards, third at 125, and your fourth bullet drop compensator down there at 150 yards, again using a 40-grain standard velocity bullet. Now, using the same bullet drop compensation dots with a 29-grain hyper velocity bullet with a 100-yard